Dr. David here at Pure Light Family Chiropractic at the new Pure Light Family Chiropractic. So my scenery looks different. We're in a different room. We're in a different place. Um, Hopefully video, audio is all good. If you can hear me, give me a thumbs up. If you can't, that's cool too. But we're going to jump back in. You know what's coming real quick outside of the smoke here in Central Oregon is back to school. Kids probably don't want to hear me talk about it. Kids in here don't want to hear me talk about it, but it's coming and it's coming quick. But we need to be prepared, especially for those kiddos who need the extra support. Mom and dad, you know who your kiddos are. That's why you're tuning in here, the sensory kiddos who need that extra support during this school season. Let's get them dialed in. Really, really important topic. So sensory kiddos, back to school. How can we support them? How can we best serve them? Number one, if you don't have that IEP 504 situation all dialed with, if your kiddos are going to public school, get that dialed. It's really, really important. So your kiddos get the needs that they need, needs that need to get in the school system. But if you're at home and you do a different alternative school, whether your kids are homeschooled or whether they go through different charter schools or homeschool day program, whatever it may be, you're looking for ways to support your child, especially if they're that sensory kiddo and school time can be a bit stressful and challenging for you. So let's talk some basics here first. Central nervous system wise, I think it's important to understand that both know that the way your child's nervous system perceives the world than somebody who is neurotypical. The world is overwhelming for them. To get tuned in to schoolwork, new things, new situations, new teacher, new school, whatever it may be, it's overwhelming for your child. How do we help them have a smooth time transitioning back into school? Big ones: routines, schedule, foundational. You know that. You know your kids. They thrive on structure and routines and schedules. Sometimes some of these parents tell me that summertime's hard for their kids because every day can be different. So preparing your kids of when school's coming up, calendars, structure, maybe getting them into role playing and what it's going to be like to go to school. Make sure everything is comfortable and it's kosher. Don't fly into school by the seam of your pants. Skid in and do things unstructured. Your kids are not going to thrive in that. Get structured, start talking about it, start game planning about it. Get them ready, right? Get them ready for this upcoming school year. Things to get and implement now and to start them now is to get things in your home that are going to cater to them. A lot of these kiddos do really well with lots of joint stimulation, movement stimulation. Movement is life for these kiddos, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. But especially in regards to chiropractic, but movement for these kiddos, proprioception, joint movement, nourishment back to their brain to calm their brain down, perceive the environment better. Get an indoor trampoline, or if you have an outdoor trampoline while the weather's still warm, let them jump on the trampoline for a little while before they go to school. It's a great tactic to get that proprioception, that movement through their joints, to get them in a good space prior to starting their day. Get the energy out, get them in a calmer, more balanced state. And if the trampoline doesn't work out for your kiddos, maybe get them active in a certain way before school. Get their bodies moving, get their nervous systems integrating from movement during the day. That'd be really, really crucial. Going back to school, make sure that we're staying away from the sugary breakfasts. Get things that are more protein, fat packed, dense carbohydrate packed. Basically what I'm saying is get rid of the toaster strudels, the cereals, all the things that are gonna throw off their central nervous system. And you've heard me talk about this before, but these kiddos are sensitive, and they're sensitive to what they put in their bodies. So make sure that things that are going in their bodies, especially in the mornings before they go to school, and then the lunches that they get packed are packed with good fats, are packed with natural organic things that aren't artificial, that aren't filled with junk. It's going to throw them off during the school year. Especially to start. So how do we ease it and make it as beneficial as possible? So when it comes to back to the movement piece, when we say movement, we talk about neurology mainly. Your kids' brains are fed either with lack of movement, stress stretches out their central nervous system, or proper movement. Proper movement would be proper movement in specific areas, especially in their spine, that move properly instead of get stuck and don't move properly. The stuck, not moving properly areas in their central nervous system typically end up in that upper neck region or in their sacrum. That stresses these kiddos out. And if you're like most of these kiddos has been sticking around for long enough. Their nervous system isn't integrating that. Their brain is perceiving most of that movement is stress when it needs to be perceived as nourishment, which is going to calm down that central nervous system, which is going to activate that vagus nerve, which is going to activate their brake pedal, which can activate their ability to learn and integrate the world much more easier, especially when you go back to into that longer days school routine, and you throw a bunch of extracurriculars on top of that. So getting those areas properly moving under proper nervous system stimulation, getting them in a pattern, getting them adjusted consistently so that they feel balanced and grounded in their body. It is wild and amazing and awesome and a journey to watch these kids unfold and heal. And it's one of my favorite things in the world. They come in overwhelmed and way sensitive about the world, and work through this course of care and become more grounded neurologically, become more of themselves. Parts of their personality comes out. Some of these kiddos become more affectionate. They become more loving. They step into things that they haven't stepped into before. And it's really beautiful to see. And if that can happen this school time, there's no better time than to start right now. Don't start 2 days before. Don't start the week of school. Start now. Start implementing things now. Getting your breakfasts dialed, getting your movement in the mornings routines dialed. Call our office, get your kiddos on the schedule. If you want to go to a different office in town that sees kids, make sure that's an office that sees kids, especially kids that are like your kids. There's a couple offices in town in here in Central Oregon who see those kids. So if we're not the best fit, that's great. Go see somebody else. That's super happy to support you guys in that endeavor. If you live in a different town, you ask us, we'll find somebody for you. The biggest thing is just making sure that your kids thrive. So important for us. So important for me as a dad, me as a pediatric chiropractor. So love seeing kids thrive. And especially now, getting them in a place of these kids in a balanced state when their neurology, when their brain is very plastic and mobile, you can make changes for the long term, especially kiddo live, like as they approach that puberty time, their tendencies, their sensory tendencies, their stress, their anxiety can sink in deeper when you start to throw hormones into the mix and their neurology matures. You want balance, you want stability, you want ease to be a part of their nervous system as they get older and they adapt to the world and their brain grows and evolves. We want that to be their norm instead of the anxiety and the stress and the sensory overload. Making sure that your life isn't too overwhelming when you start school. Okay. I know the tendency is, man, we should do basketball, soccer, and a camp after school. You don't want your kid to miss out, especially if it's things that they love. But this day and age, it feels like the extracurriculars just get more intense. It's like intro level soccer has like 3 practices a week and like 2 games on the weekends. It's like, listen, just choose one activity extracurricular wise and enroll your kids in it, or do none. Make sure school and play are the only things that they do. Get them involved in different things. Typical school routine is already intense on their neurology. They need time to decompress in their home environment in an area that they feel comfortable in to be themselves. It's an important thing to do. So I'm asking you, please don't overload their schedule. It'll make your life and their life a lot easier and a lot more balanced if you can do that. When it comes to relationships as well, okay, they're going to be new school relationships, new relationships there. Make sure that you dial in and you know who your kids are interacting with, and that you have an open dialogue as you do with your kids and the teachers, to making sure that their nervous system isn't getting overwhelmed with that new environment. Chiropractic care is a huge help with that. Changing different things in their life is a huge help with that. But if there's a repetitive, consistent stressor in their school environment, make sure that you're acutely aware of that, and it gets tackled ASAP. And if things need to change, be that annoying parent, and be a super stickler, and be that amazing advocate that you are for your kids to get them dialed back in to where they need to be. Big thing is when it comes to the end of their day, this needs to get dialed out, in my opinion, right now, is the sleep routine. Making sure that they're getting in a good sleep routine. Take out the stimulation technologically wise, the blue lights, everything. If you need to get your kiddo some blue light blocker glasses, if you know they're going to have some blue lights in your house, or they're going to have some technology before bed, get them blue blocker glasses. Zenni is great. You can calm down the neurology that way before going to sleep, but just making sure that their sleep is dialed. Their nervous system is going to work way better when their sleep's properly activating. And if you're like, man, they're just stuffy and they mouth breathe, we can help out with that. Number one. Number two is that making sure that things in their diet aren't inflaming their body and causing them to breathe out of their mouth and their nose to be plugged. And if your kiddos will let you in their mouth breathers anyways, and you can remove all that inflammation, get the nervous system calmed down, mouth taping, working on things of that manner to get them breathe through the mouth so they get more quality, deeper sleep when they're sleeping. That's a huge factor. So going into this back to school season can be intense, but listen, it doesn't have to be as intense. We are advocates for you. We will help your kiddos calm down neurologically, get more balanced, get you on a game plan of detoxing their system and getting in a place where their nervous system can handle the world. I love to see these kids thrive. And we're here for you guys as an advocate, and here for you guys to bounce ideas off of and be here for as a grounding place, as a resting place for your kids to heal and be in a great spot. So feel free to ask questions, put them in the chat, send me an email, talk to me in person if you want to, and we will get your kiddos super duper dialed when it comes to back to school. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next time.